This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, well, welcome and thank you guys again. So we're talking to Samantha and Mr. Sherman from Har-Ber High School because you set a record this year, Samantha, with 3 wins for the Ready Set Record Film Festival. And to my knowledge of all the years that we've been doing this, that has not happened before. So we're super excited and happy to honor you. So excited that we tried to give you the Best Actress award too. um, an update on that, Mr. Sherman, for Ellen. We have a new award printed, and I should be picking it up maybe today or tomorrow, and we'll get that in the mail to you guys too. So,
Great. We appreciate that.
do what?
I said, great. We appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. And sorry, I don't really know how that happened. I think we just got too excited about Samantha and all of her videos. So we're getting that squared away. So you guys received your box of all of your awards and of course your everything else. And the checks should be coming very soon if you haven't gotten those. I believe they were mailed late last week, possibly. I'll follow up on that, but you should get those really soon too. So you've broken a record, 3 wins. How does it feel? Samantha.
It feels really great. Oh yeah. I'll wait for the echo. Okay. It feels like a really big honor. I'm just super happy. I love the Ready Set Record competition. We've done it ever. I guess I competed the first time last year. And it's just a really fun project that we do every year here at Har-Ber. So this year when I was able to submit projects, I really wanted to do things that were fun and serious and just a whole array. So I'm really happy that they won and that you guys like them and that people get to see them.
Yes, and I really feel like they were so high quality. We'll be able to repurpose them over and over again because they were just so well put together. And of course, obviously, the other students that were on your teams were very talented too. But just the quality was great. But I thought that the ideas that you guys had this year were really unique as well. So let's just recap. Just One Time, which was my personal favorite, is the girl and the boy who is actually, the boy is a cigarette. He's in the costume, and she is just completely hooked on him after the first time of meeting him. So I just thought that was so incredibly clever, and just such a great message. And of course, your actors are phenomenal in all of your videos too. And then I Love You 5000 with the matches was really neat too, and it just really worked well on the screen. I love that you mentioned generational smoking. That's not something that I had expected to hear from students, and it's such a great message. That video was fantastic. And then Alpha Wolf was hilarious. I thought that was just like you said, just such a fun play on kind of what kind of one bad decision leads to another bad decision until it kind of spirals out of control. So I thought that was really, all of them just really, really great. So I want to ask, where did you really start with the ideas for each one of them? How did you guys even start coming up with these ideas this year?
Yeah, so we started brainstorming ideas, I guess, back in August or September at the beginning of the year. And the first idea that we came up with was the I Love You 5000 with the matches. We really were trying to think of a way to utilize the elements of a cigarette without negatively portraying that by using a cigarette. And so we thought, well, a match and fire, that could be really something cool that can be utilized on screen. And so me and Addison Whitney, one of my partners on that project, came up with the idea of a trail of matches, and then if you take one out, what does that do? It stops it. And so that's kind of what led into the whole concept of generational smoking, and how just one person deciding not to make that decision can help affect thousands of generations to come. And so that's kind of where that came from. And then from there, as I started brainstorming with other students, we came up with the Alpha Wolf idea that was inspired by the DirecTV commercials, actually, where you're waiting for the cable guy and it just keeps going on and on and on. And so we took it and we tried to put a twist on it with the cigarettes. And then the Just One Time was actually an idea that Mr. Sherman had for a while, and he's always wanted a group of students to do it. We just never had a costume. We never had a cigarette costume. So Luke Perez, his mom, actually made that costume just for this
Okay,
commercial.
wow.
And we were all so shocked when he brought it into class one day. We were like, "Oh my gosh, this looks great. We have to do it." And so we took it and we went and we shot it, and it was a lot of fun.
Well, that's so impressive. I remember we watched them several times here in our office as well, and I could see just barely where I think that had been cut around his face. And I was the first one to say, I think they actually made this costume themselves. And everyone else in the office was like, "Are you kidding?" So very impressive. And then the matches too. We had a couple of people say, "Did they build that? Did they really make that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you can see the like hot glue where I mean, very impressive. You guys really put a lot of work into it." I know Mr. Sherman has already said that you worked really hard this year. So we're so lucky to have you guys enter this competition because the messaging was just phenomenal this year. So did you have any ideas that didn't make the cut?
I had another commercial that I submitted for the competition. We could, what? Magic Money, yeah. And we submitted it, and I have a good family friend that's a magician, and so he does some magic, and so we tried to, incorporate that into cigarettes, and uh, that was just a little bit of a chaotic shoot. I loved the final product, but the message might have been a little bit hard to get through with the magic. But that was a really fun shoot that I did as well.
Yeah, okay. And I hear that sometimes from some other students too, that sometimes they have a great idea and it is challenging, I'm sure, to convey that into an actual commercial and a message in only 30 seconds. That's not a
Mhm.
lot of time.
Yes, the 30-second aspect of the commercial has always been a challenge for all of the videos I've done for this competition. Um, because you have all of these things and you want to include as many facts as you can, but then getting it down to that like single thought is really, really complicated, but it's something that's fun to do.
Yeah, yeah, I can imagine. Maybe in the future we'll have a category where we could submit one that's a full minute. We always get a lot of entries that are not the right length of time, whether they're 10 seconds or 45 seconds. But this was the first year I think that we got one that was like almost 3 minutes long. And this one boy played multiple characters, and it was hilarious. Of course, it couldn't even qualify. I mean, I don't know that he ever mentioned anything to do with tobacco or nicotine either, but it was a great video. But yeah, so maybe that would be something we could do in the future, just to kind of open it up to some longer commercials. We always try to, like I said, repurpose these and use them, of course, through our own social media and some different ads. We partner with the Arkansas Travelers baseball team, and we'll play some things on their jumbotron, some of these Ready Set Record videos, and so we're just really excited to show these videos this year too. Stephanie, you have some questions?
Yes. So we're sharing a microphone also, so hopefully you can hear me. But so I just wanted to ask, is like film something that you want to do after high school? Are you interested in like pursuing a film career maybe?
Yeah, so my plans for I'm a senior this year, so my plans for post high school are to pursue a career in film production. So I want to be a producer, whether that be for nonprofit organizations or for film production companies. I haven't quite figured out what area I want to go down yet, but it's something I've always been passionate in. I'm also involved in our news program here, so I've really gotten a good look at all of the careers offered in the television industry, but I really love film.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, you're super good at it already. So,
Thank you.
what advice would you give to other students who are maybe thinking about creating a Ready Set Record video for next year?
Mm.
Sorry, that's a hard
I would just say, I guess I would say to think really creatively and don't feel like you're limited to um, just one aspect. Think about everything. Even if you have a creative idea that you might not think, how can I tie this back to tobacco products or to smoking cigarettes? There's always a connection that you can make. So just really think creatively, and don't be afraid to put yourself out there and submit something.
great advice.
Great advice.
So let's see. Oh, so where did you get your like data for your videos? Like where did you pull your resources from?
So a lot of what we pulled was we did general Google searches and then checked back on the sources that we had to make sure it wasn't just nonsense information. A lot of it was from I think the American Lung Association. A lot of it was data from I think for the generational smoking commercial, we pulled from a specific research paper that was done on generational smoking. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but that's another cool thing that I will say about Ready Set Record is that getting to look at the data. A lot of it we didn't include, but you learn a lot when you're doing it. I didn't know a lot about tobacco information or about the effects that it has until we did this. So that's where I got it.
We're so happy to hear
Yeah.
that. Thank you.
Okay, let's see. So we talked about, you said you were passionate about film, obviously. So is smoking prevention something that you're passionate about, or do you have like a personal story that kind of relates to you that makes you interested in this sort of thing?
I can't say specifically that that my life's been affected by smoking in any way, which I'm blessed to be able to say that. But just being in a high school setting with a public high school and a lot of kids, there's obviously temptations everywhere. I see vaping is a big one, especially in my age group. And so I think having the opportunity to talk about smoking prevention in high school is a really cool thing. Even though I don't have a personal connection to it, just to be able to be like, bring my friends in on it, and then may not even know, but be still exposed to those facts or those statistics when it is such a big pressure right now in high school.
Right, for sure. And then the last thing I wanted to ask was, so what kind of effect do you hope that your videos have on other students? What would you hope that, like, someone who watches it, what do you hope that they'll get out of it?
I guess I would say that I hope they, oh man. I guess that I would say, yeah, I guess that I would say that I hope that they feel moved to, speak out about it in their own life too, whether they know someone personally that's smoking or not, that they would feel moved to take action against it, or to take action in promoting awareness about it. I think that that's just kind of the main thing, and then also maybe just get a laugh out of it too, depending on which one they watch.
Right. Right. I have a son that is in 6th grade this year, and I asked him kind of what he thought that he would be looking for, and he said, tell them to make the videos no longer than 5 seconds, so when they're on YouTube, they won't skip them. I was like, that doesn't help me, son. So a couple questions for you, Mr. Sherman, and I can't thank you enough for doing this year after year. And how many years have you participated in Ready, Set, Record? Can you even remember?
I think we've done it for 9 years now. I think we've done it every single year that I've been teaching. I know Trent Jones was prior to me, so I'm willing to bet we've done it every single year that it's been available to us.
Well, and we pretty much have finalists. I know for the last, I guess, 3 years that I've been with Project Prevent, you guys have had some finalists too. So you do a really great job putting them videos together, obviously. But how do you motivate your students to get involved in this film festival? Are there other film festivals that compete with this, or kind of how do you get them kind of excited about it?
Well, this year was much easier to get them excited because, with COVID protocols, they're just not getting to do anything. So competitions this year are kind of crucial to their development and their education. So something like this, when I tell them that this is a competition, you're competing against students across the state, that's all you need to get them motivated. So the one thing that I tell my students every single year is what's going to make your commercial unique, what's going to stand out from everybody else. You're going to be competing against hundreds of videos. So what's going to make yours unique? Is it going to be funny? Is it going to be dramatic? Is it going to be serious? And so if you take that approach, I think that helps out a lot. Sam was actually, did you win last year too? Yeah, Sam won last year as well. So she was first place last year, and then she placed several this year. So she's been kind of one of the rising stars, I guess, lack of a better term. We're super proud of her work, and she takes the same approach. She always comes to me with an idea, and I always play devil's advocate. Why do we care? What's going to make it unique, and what's going to make it different from everybody else? And by taking that approach, it really helps.
That's great advice, and that was one of my questions too, is kind of what advice would you give to other students? But I think that really sums it up. I think yeah, that's fantastic. Well,
yeah, the only other thing I could think of is shoot as much as humanly possible and create more than one commercial. That just helps your odds if you're looking to place. And I think Sam did 4 or 5 commercials, and there's not really a limit. You guys don't limit us, so why would you not want to produce 60 commercials if you can? So.
Right. Well, yes, exactly. Well, and I think it's important that we don't limit the number of times and the number of videos and the number of teams that you can be on. We do have to limit the number of students that can be on one team, but you guys can submit multiple times, and I'm glad that we do that. And we do have several other schools that have repeat winners because they take the same approach. Lakeside in Hot Springs, Cave City High School in the past few years, Nettleton High School in Jonesboro, they've had someone in the finalist or sometimes multiple teams in the finals because they do put out so many videos. We have always kind of some newcomers that I think start out with some great ideas and struggle with the execution. So I know because you guys have done this year after year, it probably is a little easier each year. And of course, Mr. Sherman being involved for 9 years now, you really kind of have the formula down. But I think also just the fact that your ideas are so unique and fresh every year, I think that's really what has made the difference. So I wanted to ask you, Mr. Sherman, do you guys talk about tobacco prevention, or is there any kind of, I know that's not obviously your area as a teacher, but do you guys discuss tobacco prevention and vaping and kind of what all of that means before you start working on your videos?
Yeah, when we get to that segment, we always prepare for Stamp Out Smoking in about February. Make sure I'm unmuted here. Yep. So we always prepare for Stamp Out Smoking coming up in February, and we talk about where can you find the statistics and what is meaningful. And we talk about, like Sam said, a lot of them are just shocked at the information that's given and the statistics that are given. So we have a brief segment at the beginning and talk about the information and how we can apply it into videos.
Good. I think that's so not only helpful, obviously, for creating the videos for the competition purpose, but just for the students to hear it from a teacher that's outside of, health class. Not that we don't want our health teachers talking about it as much as possible, but for them to hear it from someone in another area, I think that's really special, and we really appreciate you doing that. Do you have anything to add to that, Samantha?
No, I think he said it perfectly. I mean, going into, sorry, I'm hearing that go. I mean, at the start of the year, when you talk about the whole looking at the statistics and students just being shocked, I think that's really the biggest thing is, and like you said, hearing it outside of health class, I think can really bring awareness too, because you're not expecting to hear it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're not going to keep you guys too long. We had a couple of questions for both of you. Stephanie, you have those, I think.
Okay, so obviously the film festival was virtual this year, which we were a little sad about because we love to be able to get together in person with you guys and watch the videos and all that. But the virtual we still thought was super great. We were glad to get to showcase all of your hard work. So for both of you, what did you think about the virtual film festival? Do you prefer it virtual? Do you prefer it live and in person?
So I think I can speak on behalf of all students. Ideally, we would love to be in person. That just didn't happen this year. So hopefully in the future, fingers crossed, we're back in person. The students are they're struggling to get out there and find a connection. There's no proms, there's no pep rallies, students aren't getting to do anything. So if we could do something to engage them, I think that's really going to help them. The virtual demonstration was great in my opinion. I think it's exactly what we needed. It kept the attention span for the students. They have such short attention spans, so the shorter the better. I think it engaged, and we just really appreciate you guys doing it for sure.
Nice.
I would have to agree. Sorry.
So lastly, kind of the same thing, but do either of you have any feedback or suggestions for next year for us about the film festival, the submission process? I mean, anything.
And we do hope to be back in person next year also.
Yeah. I would just say, which you've already mentioned, but I think having a category for a minute commercial would be really cool. I will say for the I Love You 5000, we originally had a lot more statistics on our board, but then when we got down to editing, we had to cut out a majority of them just because it was 30 seconds. So I feel like if that just, had a minute to do it, it could have provided more information. And I think you could get some more creative ideas that might be a little bit different than what you could put in a 30-second commercial. That would be my suggestion. I don't know if Mr. Sherman has anything else.
No, I think you hit it right on the head. A minute piece. You could even. I just don't know what the purpose. Where we're sending this stuff. If it's going for broadcast, obviously you have to keep it below a minute or 30 seconds. But I think a really cool idea would be a short film type thing. A 3-minute piece. Can you tell a 3-minute story with, Stamp Out Smoking? I think that might be a really interesting piece. But again, the marketing for that is really limited. Less people are going to watch a 3-minute piece. But some cool ideas.
I like to hear that, and that's definitely something that we can consider. And just to be honest, I think at this point the limit is 30 seconds because that's just how it started so many years ago. So I think it's time to kind of look at it again. And I'm really excited to hear that you guys would be interested in that. And I agree, if you had 2 or 3 minutes to tell a bigger story, that could still be used in a lot of different ways. That's a great.
Even the 1-minute idea is great. I mean, think of all that you could do with just another 30 seconds. I hadn't even really thought about that.
Well, I wanted to ask about the prizes too. So normally we are able to send or we're able to invite everyone to the film festival, and if they attend, and then they get different kinds of swag and lunch and everything. So we really tried to put like a fun box together, and I'm pretty sure it did not get to you guys before the film festival because of the weather. Is that right?
No, actually, we got it. We got it the day or the morning of. So yeah, we got it.
Okay, that's great. Well, good. Okay, well, I also the motivation I think is that it's like cash prizes, so we are able to pay students a little bit of money, and we were able to get that increased a little bit this year for each video. But I think too, and maybe Samantha, you can speak to this, but being a senior in high school and looking to go into some type of film career, I'm hoping that this will be something that will be useful to you for college applications and just future jobs, because you have several awards under your belt now.
Yeah, most definitely. When I'm in the process of applying for a lot of scholarships and being able, and I'm in a lot of interviews for different things, and so being able to speak to this and say I do have experience and I do have things being graded or watched by others, and it being given these awards has been really helpful. I will say for the virtual conference part of it, I loved the swag bags. That was really a cool thing. I wasn't expecting. I walked into the building because we were shooting something up here, and he was like, "Oh yeah, here's this," and it was a nice surprise to have. And so back to the going to the film into the film production industry, I think that when you talk about college applications, it really is helpful. And I think that the younger students, even just looking at what they want to do, this is really helpful in figuring out where they might want to fall, whether that be broadcast or film or the entertainment industry at all.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love the fact that we have awarded you in so many categories, but it's kind of funny, but you didn't show up on your face is not in any of the films. Just how important some of those behind the scene jobs are, the production, the concept, and just so much work that you did, and you didn't star in any of those in those videos, but you just they were yours. And I think that really is important for a lot of people to realize and understand too. You guys have some amazing equipment. I think I haven't seen it, but I can tell that your productions are very polished. But we always try to tell all of the students across the state that we have finalists every year that can record a video on their cell phone, as long as the content and quality is still what we're looking for. And we do have some other entries that are from a phone or whatever. So I'm proud that we have kind of a mix of that across the state. But I wanted to say the videos, well, we get to see all of them. We don't get to vote at Project Prevent. We outsource that to an ad agency that we contract here in Little Rock. So at some point, you may even work for a company that judged your video. So keep that in your back pocket and keep that in mind. Do you guys have any final thoughts or any questions for us?
I mean, just to kind of reiterate what you were saying about the cell phone, I think that's a really powerful point. We are blessed in Springdale to have a very supportive school district, and we do have some great equipment. But, one of the very first projects, and Sam's done it 3 times now, the very first project they ever do, they have to shoot it on a cell phone. So we strip away all that gear, and it gives them the idea that, yeah, we have this cell phone, which, by the way, cell phones are great quality, incredible quality now. So, but you have this cell phone. Can you be creative, outside the box thinking? How do you get those dolly moves? How do you get these incredible shots? And so it allows them to be creative. And I think don't feel like you're limited because of your equipment. You're limited by your creativity is the last thing I would say.
That is fantastic advice. I love that. Samantha, you have anything to add? Anything else or any questions for us?
No, I was going to say exactly what Mr. Sherman said about our first project. That's something that really helps in this event, in this competition, because it forces you to think creatively, just like he said. And so I would encourage students not to be held back by that as well. Like he said, we're super blessed to have nice equipment and to be able to use that. But even if it was for the weather, I mean, I think, like he said, phones shoot great. And so I think it's about the content that you're producing, not necessarily the quality.
Hey, well, great. We, again, can't thank you guys enough for doing this today, but more importantly for participating in Ready, Set, Record and, year after year. And we can't say enough about your work this year. You did a great job, and we are just so thankful to be able to share this with everyone. So if you don't already follow us on social media at Project Prevent AR, Facebook and Instagram, and of course on our YouTube channel. So Stephanie is going to be showcasing those 3 videos this week. Alpha Wolf posted today, and then we're going to do we do usually on Thursdays Faces of Project Prevent, so you will be featured on Thursday. If you have a picture of yourself you don't mind sharing with us, it can just be a selfie, or just if you want to email me a picture, or you can send it through the you can DM it to Stephanie on the Project Prevent Instagram page. Either way, then we will kind of just say a few things about you and do a little congratulations on Thursday. And was that right, Thursday? Okay, yes, she does all that. She does all that. All right, well, thank you guys so much. We appreciate it. Have a good rest of the day and a good rest of the week.
Hey, we appreciate all you guys do. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.